Welcome, my friend. Oh my goodness, wasn't that amazing being able to sit and chat with Emmylou and Linda? And what a journey, what an amazing story. Welcome, my friend. Oh,
just bear with me one
goodness.
second.
Wasn't that amazing being able to sit and chat with... There we go, you got two of me. I'd forgotten to turn my sound off on my laptop. I have my laptop open so I can see all your amazing comments and you can ask questions and we can interact. So I will remember to do that when I'm back later on today. So I apologise for that. So, are you ready? Oh my goodness, we've got an amazing day ahead of us. 25 years of crafting, isn't that amazing? So this morning we're going to spend some time creating a mini album, the quick and easy way. We're going to create some wild roses. So I'm going to switch the camera and show you what we're going to make. Okay, Chris, good morning. Carol, good morning. Oh, Carol, you're hoping that we'll be here. You'll be here in 10 years from now to see what else you create. Can you believe that 9 years ago I was actually applying to be on the design team? It just blows my mind how time flies. So this is what we're going to create today. I've made a mini album and I thought this is a really nice gift to give for someone's birthday. So I'm going to turn some pages and we're just going to, I haven't finished it, we're going to finish it together. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make this front cover and these gorgeous flowers. So let's just turn this. So what we're going to do is we could put in beautiful photographs here. I've got journaling pieces in here. Now these, I'm using the Wild Rose paper pad. I decided that I was going to create some of my favourites. It's birthday time, so I figured it was time to have a look at some favourites, and the Wild Rose paper pad for me is one of my favourites, and the flowers. So these I've just fussy cut out of the journaling pieces. Marilyn, you're saying you're still getting two voices. Okay. I'm hoping that fixes it. However, I now can't see your comments. So let's keep going and have a look at this. If we're still getting two voices, can you pop it in the comments and let us know? And that would be awesome. Okay. So, fussy cutting these out to pop them in here. And then we've got some journaling pieces to write some beautiful notes on, some tags. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know if you know this, but the Elegant Tags collection, the tags coordinate and fit with the tickets and tags in the back of our paper pads. So it makes it easy for die cutting. So I've got some in here, and then this one here was just to add a lovely note on. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so I believe that we are good with no more voices. So that's awesome. Okay. If you have two tabs open, you might be hearing me twice. So just check on that one and make sure that there's only one of me. Okay, and here's some more pieces that I've cut from the paper pad. The paper pad is so versatile. Okay, so let's start crafting. Let's start making these roses. Okay. So I've got the tea rose and the plum. What we're going to do is I've stamped in the plum, and I've stamped with the small wild rose stamp and die set, and we're going to use the 3D wild rose shaping mould. This is where the magic happens. The moulds were an amazing innovation that came along several years ago, and they make flower shaping quick and easy, and creating lots and lots of flowers in one go is so much easier than hand shaping. Okay, so I've got my floral stamped, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my tea rose and do a circular motion in the center. Okay, get some ink on there. Now these are your flowers, so how high you come up there and how heavy you put the ink down is up to you. It's your choice. And then I'm going to come in with the plum, which I stamped in. Okay. Deb, you're saying that the wild rose is your favourite as well. Oh my goodness. It is just such a versatile floral. There is the small version and the large version. And it makes it so versatile, so you can mix and match, and you can create beautiful projects with big flowers, smaller flowers, intermixed sized flowers. Just absolutely amazing. Okay, so we're just going to shade on the outside so that the colours blend a little, like so. And then we're going to come in with our coordinating die. Now, I don't know about you, but as a crafter that makes lots of flowers, I like to have 2 sets of my floral dies, because I could run, if I had 2 dies, I could run them both through the die cutting machine at once. And today is if that's something that is for you, then today is a fabulous day to take advantage and get a second set, because there's a 15% savings on all of your crafting favourites. It does exclude the warehouse clearance products, but anything you add to your cart that isn't from the warehouse clearance, you're going to get 15% off at the end of when you check out, which is a fabulous, fabulous birthday special from Heartfelt to you. Okay, so we'll run those through the die cutting machine. And what we get is this die cut. Now, you see that I haven't actually coloured the outside of this one. So you could cut them before you do that extra shading, or you can cut them after, like I was colouring earlier. So if you did it just like this, what you would do is just put some colour down on all of them, on all the petals, like so. So the pink, Letty, is the tea rose. So it's a Ranger archival ink, and it's the tea rose. And what I'm applying now is the plum. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So this is how I've got what we were doing earlier. So I would just then come back round again and put some more colour onto the edge, just to give some colouring dimension. You can see how that is changing the look now. Okay, so the choice is yours how you want to do it. As you can see, I do it both ways. There we go. So the next step would be to take our shape mould, okay, and I'm going to turn it over. So depending upon how you want the look of the flower, you could do it stamp side up. You would get a totally different impression. It would be shaped the other way. So we're just going to lay that in the shaping mould. Now, one of the things that I like to do with my roses is a top tip here. So you can see that there is a notch here in one of the petals. I put a little black dot on my mould where that goes, so that I know very quickly and very easily that that's how that flower goes. So what we do is put the lid on, and we're going to put a plate either side and run it through your die cutting machine. Now we will have a compatibility chart that are added to the comments for you. But if you want to see the compatibility chart at any point, go onto the website and go on to where the moulds are, and there's a link from every mould to the compatibility chart. There we go. Okay, so this is how it comes out, all lovely and shaped. It gives such a beautiful look. What I'm going to do is, there's two things we could do now. So we could just absolutely, what I call tickle its tummy, just going round in a circle and pressing down, and create flowers that way. To take your flowers to another level and to get this gorgeous crinkled look, what we're going to do is take the magic bottle of water. Now, when we've been out and about in places doing demonstrations of this, I always say water from everywhere works. It's a magic solution that helps you create beautiful one-of-a-kind florals. So I'm just going to spritz that. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to come in and we're going to crinkle that. We're going to use those pleats and just crinkle and pleat those petals. Okay. Now I would let that dry. It's always good to let a floral that you've sprayed dry to then work with it, so that we don't create any extra tearing and we get a good rigid. So this is one that's dry. You get a really nice rigid floral to work with. So to make this flower, we're going to use 3 petals. So I'm going to just do a circular motion in the middle like so, and because I do need this one, I am going to very gently press down, so you can see it feels very different to shape when it's wet. Okay, and then the next step we're going to do is I'm going to take my golf tool, because I've got some stamens that I'm going to put through today. Now, this is a top tip that I know I've shared before, but for those of you who haven't heard this, if you're using stamens that are the wired stamens, when you pull them through your floral and you trim them off, keep hold of those pieces of wire, because they're great to use with your threaded stamens. So I have just literally folded those stamens in half, wrapped the wire around. And what we're going to do is I'm going to get my piercing mat and I'm just going to pierce through the centre. And the reason why I like the golf tool best is this. You can see how the shaft of this tool is varied in size. And what we're going to do is we're just going to push it along so I can get a bigger hole the further I go up there, because I want to get all these through. Okay. So I'm going to do that to all 3, like so. There we go. So I've got these beautiful pearl medium stamens. These are a gorgeous yellow. I like the yellow in the centre of these roses personally, but you could absolutely use some of the other colours as well. Like I said, these are your flowers that you're creating, and it's always nice to have them how you want. Okay, so I'm just going to thread that through the centre. You can see I've got a fair amount of them here, so I think I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stamens there that obviously are threaded in half. Janet, you're saying that you love this album. Albums are such a fun thing to create, and are such a wonderful gift to give. So for a birthday celebration, giving the gift of memories, filling an album full of memories of with that person that you're giving it to is such a very special thing. So I'm using hot glue on the back. You can absolutely use wet glue, but it's so much easier when you're using hot glue with florals in this way. So I've just threaded the next one over, and then I'm going to use my hot glue again, like so. Now, Emma Lou has a fabulous tip. You can see I've got some strings of glue here. Well, don't worry, because the hairdryer gets rid of those. So when your projects are all done and you can see some glue strings on them, if you get the hairdryer out onto them and it just blows them away, it just gets rid of them. It's magic. So that was an awesome tip that Emma Lou shared. It's one that I've remembered for sure. So I'm going to finish off the back because I don't want these stamens coming loose when I cut all of this piece away. I want them to stay in the project, in the flower, okay, so that they don't come loose all over my project. So that's how we make the flower. So let me know if that's something that you think that you will be making, that you love, that you would love the look of on your projects. Now then, let's have a look. What I thought we'd do is I'm going to go through how to make this front, but instead of making it as a front, wouldn't it be nice to make it as a card? So I don't know about you, but giving a gift and a card that coordinate really looks very elegant. So when we make this, I'm going to make it as a card, but you would make it exactly the same way, just not on a folded card, and then we would punch the holes in the front. So what have I got? It's a 7x5 piece of card for the album. I'm using a folded piece of card to make the card with. And then what we've got is a 7x5 piece of paper from the Wild Rose, and I've just gone round the edge and inked it with the plum, so that it just gives that lovely look around the edge at the front. So we're just going to put some glue on there, and we're going to just pop this onto here. I've got glue on my thumb, so it's not going on so well. There we go. Now the great thing is that although I've got glue on my fingers, if I get it on the card, it's going to dry clear and we're not going to see it. Okay, so that's the base. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Simply Classic oval frame. This is a very versatile set of dies. You can make shaped cards with it, you can make boxes with it, you can make okay, I've got word salad. You can use it to decorate the front of your cards with as a focal point. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take this die from the set, and I'm going to use my Lux Gold card and cut out the die, and that's going to be our outer piece. The next thing I'm going to do is, you see that I've glued these together and I've got gold and a white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 3 dies to create those. Cut them in white and cut them in gold. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a coloured mat at the back of it. Now, a top tip here is, imagine that this is on your piece of paper that you're die cutting. So we've die cut out these, and we now want to die cut out this. To make sure that it fits and we've got it in the same place, I would have these taped down, and all I would do is remove the middle piece, and then I would have them still in the same place so that I wouldn't have a narrow or a narrower piece or the oval centre in the wrong place. So it's just using your tape and pulling out that second piece will give you that with ease. Right, so let's pop those together. I'm going to add this to the back of here, and the fine metal tip is perfect for those smaller, finer areas. I would not be able to do this if I didn't have that on my glue, for sure. I'd be definitely making a mess. Okay, I'm going to put that onto there like so. Now then, I had the thought that this would look nice if you were able to put a photograph in there. So I've not put any 3D pads on the back of this part so that you can slide photographs in there. So that's what we're going to do here. I've put 3D pads on the bottom part of it so that if you wanted, you could actually personalise this with somebody's photograph or a group photograph. Something that was personal to the person you're giving it to. Okay, so I'm just going to glue this piece on like so. So tell me, have you made mini albums? Is it something that you have been creating over the years? This is one of the very first ones I've ever done, and they are really very easy to create, especially with these lovely decorative dies. They make it so easy to create those frames for those photos or for those special messages. Okay. So the next thing is I've used the oval from the centre and I've cut out a piece of the paper. Now you'll see that it's not all got the flowers on it. But when the project's finished, I'm going to put the flowers over this part so you don't actually see this bit. But this bit looks absolutely stunning in the frame. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to work out, I'm going to pop that in the centre, and then what we're going to do is put some glue on the back and do that again so that it sits in that frame nicely. Okay, so we're just going to manoeuvre that around. I'm looking at it from a side, so it's a little bit harder. Okay, so I've got a little bit of an overlap here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in with my scissors and trim that away. Okay, no one will see underneath. Okay, no one other than all of you wonderful ladies will know that that ever happened. And then I'm just going to take these off. Okay, Helen, you're saying you've occasionally made albums from some other tutorials and from other videos, and you began about 10 years ago. My goodness, that's amazing, Helen. Yes, so there are some classes that have mini albums and things that we have on our website, and they are so beautiful. So that's so awesome, Helen, that you've been making those. I'm sure they've been much loved from the people that you've given them to. Okay, so you see that that sits on there nicely, and we've got that little slot if we want to put a photograph in rather than the roses, the piece of paper. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our flowers and some leaves. Now these leaves are from the Leafy Accents. The Leafy Accents, the stamp and the die set. And these are absolutely one of my essentials in my crafting stash, because these leaves go with everything. No matter what floral you're using, we can use these. And personally, this one with all the curly cues, that's my absolute favourite. I reach for that over and over again. Okay. Irene, you're saying that you liked making mini albums, but you haven't made any lately. It's always been fun to see everything that you've been making in the group where everyone shares their projects. It's so fabulous to see what you create, and very inspiring. Every day when I go in there and I have a look, I come out of there and I go, I want to craft, I want to make this, and oh my goodness, this is absolutely gorgeous. So if you're not a member already, make sure that you do join our Facebook group. It's a fabulous group of ladies that support each other with their crafting, inspire each other. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some hot glue around my base of my flower. I'm going to come and get this one. No, I want the smaller one. There we go. Like so. And I'm going to put them both on at the same time, just so that I get them in the place where I want them together, so that they work together. And then I'll just give them a hold. The next thing we've got is a sentiment, and I've taken this from the paper pad. I've die cut it with one of the tag dies that gives a nice little edge, and we're just going to drop that in there like so. Oops, they're all moving. There we go. There you go. And then I've got this lovely delicate butterfly that I'm just going to add to the edge, and these are from the Delightful Daffodils. So the vellum I've stamped in white ink and heat embossed, and then just cut the decorative layer up from the top. So that's how we make the front. What we would do if it was the front of the album, we'd put that through a punch hole and then pop it onto the album. But isn't that lovely to give it as a gift and a card? Okay, so let's do some of the pages that are in the album. So what we're going to do, let me find them. Okay, now I've got them in order, so we're going to do them one at a time. Now I'm going to turn this over because I'm going to be working with this piece as well. And how I like to do this is to work in two sides. Now I can't get everything in the screen there, so we will do our best. Now for this piece, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. We're just going to glue the gold piece that we cut for the front onto the, pop that onto the album. Now you wouldn't be working onto the back of an actual album. You'd be doing all these on their own. Okay, and then I've done the same on the back of here. We're just going to drop that on, and then this makes a nice photo frame. So I want to make sure that we can add that picture in. So we're just going to pop that onto the centre like so. And then I've just cut a piece of white card in there, and what we'll do with this is we'll bring it down through the bottom like so, and then that indicates where a photograph will go. So that's that side done. And then the next coordinating side is going to be, so all the album is made using 7x5 card. You can use some hardboard to start it off with at the back and the front if you choose, but what I found myself is by adding the paper to either side, it actually gives a real good rigidity. So I've got a piece of 7x5 paper that coordinates with the other side of the album like so, and I'm just going to glue that on there, and then I'm going to make a pocket. And one of the things that I love to do is to use my dies for things as much as I can. Now this is the Knoll decorative die, and I'm using this to make a pocket with. So I'm going to use this piece to make a lovely shaped pocket. So I've taken my die and I've got a piece of Lux Gold and another piece of the paper that I'm using on here, so that this will coordinate with the edges and all of this gorgeous lacy work. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue this onto the gold, but we're not going to glue it so it actually covers the gold. What we're going to do is just drop it down a little bit so we've got that beautiful border. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to put some glue down the side so that, and the bottom, we don't want things dropping through. There we go. And we're just going to put that on to our back piece like so. And that is as simple as that to create one of your sides of your album. Perfect for adding in some tags like so. Make some little messages on there, and really quick and easy. So what I need to do now is this piece is going to be the back of another section. So I wanted to do a journaling piece on this, and this is a 7x5 piece of paper. One of the things that I love about the paper collections is that they all work together. They work together. All the sheets in there just are coordinated with the colours to work together. So it makes choosing papers so easy. I don't know about you, but I remember years ago sitting on the floor and taking hours to work out what papers work with what to make for my project. But I don't need to do that with this. It just works really easily. So this is a slightly 2/16 of an inch larger than this piece. Now this piece is just cut from the paper pad. So, and this makes just a lovely place for those notes to be written, to tell your loved one how much you love them, write a memory, share a joke, that kind of thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is, because that side, that is complete, but what I need to make sure is I punch the holes on the right side. So I know, bringing in my album in, that this is going to be on this side. So I want to make sure I cut from this side. Now, I have a piece, I brought my hole punch, and it's like, well, this piece out is exactly the right place to create the holes for my album. Now, how I did that was I took a spare piece of 7x5, folded it in half, okay, got that notch, put it into my hole punch and lined it up with that arrow in the middle. don't think you can see it, it's just here. So that I then knew where to put my slider. So that all I can do now is I can easily create my holes in all my pieces, and it'll be in the right place. So there we go. So that's another piece. Now the other half of this side, what we're going to do is I'm going to move that, just to making sure that I don't move that slider piece, is I've got my piece of card again, another piece of paper that matches my other one. Okay. Now if you've got a wish list, I don't know about you, but as a crafter, I have a list of things that I would really love. So if you have one of those and you've fallen in love with some of these things, then make sure you take advantage of the 15% savings today. It's a special birthday savings. Make sure you add what you need to your cart, and our shipping team will get those shipped out to you. So I'm going to use this die, the Fancy Classic Oval Frame. This makes another fabulous frame for a photograph, and I've used it in two ways. So I'm going to show you the quickest way that I've used it. I've cut it out, and I've cut out the larger piece. Here we go. I have the die on my side here. So I've taken this piece and I've run it through the die cutting machine with the gold and the white. And what we're going to do is we're just going to layer those two together. So, okay. I love the look of this, how the gold peeking through that white just creates another level to our crafting. Okay, so I'm going to glue that down, and what I'm going to do this time is, instead of having someone slide something through, we're just going to have them cut out the photograph and pop it on the top like so. Okay, now then I'm going to finish off this with a pocket on the back. So this is going to be my last piece of my album. What I'm going to do is I've taken this piece, cut it 7 by 5, and I'm going to make the most out of this piece. So I'm not going to use another piece of the same paper. So this time I'm going to cut all the way down there, because this makes a great pocket. What we're going to do is we're going to glue this piece on the top like so. So this is going to go on the top of there, and then I've taken a piece of the gold 7 inches long, and how wide it is really doesn't matter, and I'm going to glue this onto the top just so that we've got some gold peeking through like so. Okay, and then we're going to create a pocket just by putting some glue on the sides and along the bottom. There we go. And again, that's just a nice ending to the album. We can put in some tags, we could put some photographs. The choice is yours, it's your album. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring that in and punch the hole, making sure it's on the right side, and then we would add these to our album. So these are just rings that I've got in my crafty stash that I've used to put all the pieces together and hold them. So we open that up, pop the pieces on, and then what I've done is I've cut some tags from the paper and added some ribbons to the side and finished off my project like that. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've had a fabulous time crafting with me. It's always great to be with you and chatting with you while I'm crafting. Tracy is up next. She's going to be live with you at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and she's going to be making a shaped card with the die that I've used. So you're going to see some versatility with that die, which is awesome. And I'll be back with you at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to make this. So we're going to make a box, okay? Boxes are one of my favourite things to make, so I can't wait for that. So thank you for joining me. I hope you are going to enjoy the rest of today. It's such a fabulous day of fun and being together and celebrating each other. And I will see you again soon. Okay, bye.